This movie is just proof that you should always be running your dehumidifier in your basement and should probably be calling the exterminator on a regular basis to make sure that no mutant slugs are sleeping down there in your basement and eventually will crawl up to the surface and kill everyone. Spawn, released in 1983, and is directed by Douglas McCowan, whose only feature-length credit is this movie that he also wrote and directed. And this film is starring a bunch of people who are no-name actors such as Charles George Hildebrandt, Tom DeFranco, Richard Lee Porter, Gene Taffler, Karen Tighe, Ethel Mickelson, John Schmerling, James Brewster, and Elisa Neal. And the reason why we're talking about Deadly Spawn today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a big-time contributor and supporter of this channel, David Klimov. Thank you very much for this recommendation. I do have to say, I like your recommendations. You recommend a lot of things that I have never even heard of, and a lot of films that if I have heard of it, or I see it in like the dollar bin at Walmart and for DVDs, you know, if I'm in the physical media mood, I would definitely pass over this one because this is pretty silly, but it's a nice silly independent horror feature, which does put a smile on my face because these type of projects, this is the thing that really gets the creative juices going and get a lot of people who later become prominent filmmakers and artists out there. It really cuts their teeth on the filmmaking process and how to go about fixing problems and how to go about shooting certain things and just the aspects of filmmaking that you never think about, like scheduling, getting all the actors there, getting all the rights and property issues. So thank you very much for this recommendation. If anyone else out there also wants to be like David and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out, just like what I did with David Klimov here. This movie is simply about one terrible bad day for this local family who wakes up one morning, one person at a time, and eventually wanders down into the basement and becomes a victim of a sluggish, worm-like monster who's been dwelling down there. And as other family members throughout the house are realizing what's going on, they scratch and claw their way to get out of the house and as far away from this place as possible because there are deadly spawns everywhere. And I said it previously, I love little independent horror films like this because, it's just seeing these young people getting used to the whole creative process of making a film. Is the story always great? Are the visual effects always spectacular? Oh my god, no. But that adds to the charm of these movies. So I can say that this film, even though the plot, the acting, the cinematography, the setting, the story, everything is very silly, it has a certain charm to it. And I truthfully watched the entire thing. I'm not kidding you on this, but I do have to say that my favorite part is the very, very, very beginning where this meteor comes crashing down, and then from out of nowhere, we cut to these two guys who are camping with each other, and they throw the tent cover open like, huh? What was that? And they go off to check the meteor crash site, and we never find out who they are, what their names are, what their relationship with each other is. When one goes back to the tent to pick up some supplies so that they can analyze the meteor, and the one person is being eaten and is being killed who stays behind, the other camper who went back to the tent, he doesn't call out the name because I don't think they even know what the names are. He goes, "Hey you! Did you hear me?" I love it. We don't even take the time to establish these characters because we know they're going to be eaten in the next 2 minutes or so. So why even establish anything? Let's just have them go through the motions. Oh, there's a meteor. I'll go back and get my flashlight so we can get a better look. Hey you! Did you hear me? That's what I said I was going to do. Ah! I love it. I frickin' love it. And then when we get to the puppetry of this huge worm monster with thousands of teeth living in this basement, which is a shitty-ass basement, which is where I'm at right now. I'm in my basement. It's not the best. We do have, wet spots here and there. Of course, all the cat litters are down here too. Not the best. It's an unfinished basement. They also have an unfinished basement, but I mean, there's water everywhere. There's at least like half an inch of water on the ground. Kind of made me feel better about myself and my housekeeping. I'm like, well, at least my basement doesn't do that. They even call over the electrician because something is going on with the fuse box and they need to figure it out because they need electricity. And then you look at the fuse box in some scenes and it's just sparking. Constantly sparking. Like, yeah, okay, something is going on with that. I definitely believe you there. So the people in this house, when the movie starts, we have the mom, we have the dad, we have the two boys, one who's like junior, senior year in high school. We have another one who's middle school, probably like 6th or 7th grade. And then we have an aunt and uncle who is visiting, and the uncle is some psychiatrist. So he sits the little boy down because the little boy is obsessed with monsters and horror and freak show stuff. So he asks him a whole bunch of questions like, is there anything that scares you? Is there a monster that you attach yourself with the most? And this kid is a psychopath. He is going to grow into a legit serial killer because nothing affects him. He emotes nothing. He is a sociopath. No, nothing scares me anymore. I have a dream that should be scary, but it doesn't affect me. Then he goes down into the basement, and the monster sees him. But because he doesn't move, as if this is like a T-Rex in Jurassic Park, if you don't move, it doesn't see you. But he's also not freaking out. He kind of just looks at it and goes, and it's that way the entire time. Now, the older brother, he's having his friends come over, and one of his friends is, of course, you know, a girl that he has a crush on, and at one point starts making out with, and starts emoting all of his love and feelings towards her. But you see, she's about to die in the next 30 seconds to a minute, so they actually bring over another girl who's blonder and hotter that we don't establish at all, but she's just thrown into this situation because the actual girlfriend, or the person that we actually have the crush on, she's killed, like, right away as soon as she shows up. Almost as if she could shoot for a couple of days, but maybe production is going a little bit longer, so hey, let's bring in our other friend from film school to be in this movie because we need to have at least one cool hot chick in here, and because she's leaving, you want to show up? Don't quote me on that as actually being the reason why it happened, but I've been to college before, and I've been in the theater department, and have been assigned several scenes and projects like this. I know how scheduling works, so it would not surprise me if that would be the thing. If you're into cheap indie horror monster films, just looking at a bunch of basically students, just young people figuring this out, if you're into that type of horror, which I really am ever since starting this channel, I would say give this a watch. This is... It's not good. This is not a good movie. There's a lot of stupid, silly shit in here. But again, it's part of the charm, and that's what you should go in here expecting. This is the type of horror film that you can easily create a drinking game over. Have a couple of your buddies over, pop this in, play the game, you'll all be hammered and having a great time. I'm going to give Deadly Spawn 2.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I found that if you have a goal, that you might not reach it. But if you don't have one, then you are never disappointed. And I gotta tell you, it feels phenomenal.
So guys, if you've seen Deadly Spawn, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.